hand. If I do that, it slips off. So keep it here, so as it slides up, it's ready to go. Maybe what was happening. Okay, the next one. By the way, that's the official name, the next one. There's two ways to do this technique. Okay, let's do it the first time. That's one way. That's the other. I'm partial to the other. Most everybody does it the one way. The first way, he's grabbing either sleeve or lapel up here. I've seen two different ways. Again, I don't think this really matters that much. When he comes to here, what you're going to do is you're going to raise your hand like you're trying to grab attention to somebody, like it's a teacher type motion. Just pick your hand up. If you notice when you're doing that, when you make that motion, his grip changes a little bit. So that as you start to come down with your hand, it rotates his hand over and puts this nasty little lock right here, causing him to want to get away from that pain. At this point, you retreat, causing that wonderful step. When he takes the wonderful step, what does physics say? He takes one step, what's going to happen to his head? It pops up in the air. Remember the rule from previous time? If he's on a body rise, he can be thrown backwards. Again, you push with your center. Turn your center into this technique. For this particular one, it's a little bit harder to go sideways with it. You come to here, this motion. Okay? The other way has a smaller, shorter, faster, and is more difficult window of opportunity to hit. That's why I do it that way. I'll be honest with you. To quote Randy, if there's a harder way to do it, then Raymond's going to do it that way. And what he's going to do is just as he's reaching the step and just as his foot hits the floor, I'm raising my hand and dropping at the same time and curling in. At which point I relax and turn into him. Usually that motion causes his right foot to step forward. That. And when that happens, his butt goes way behind the center of gravity, causes this. I release the pressure, and he stands up. What I'm doing with this motion is I'm picking up my hand and dropping into it with my center. I'm picking up and dropping. From here, I'm picking up and dropping, getting this like a scoop with this hand. So I'm scooping him into my center. I'm not pushing him to the floor. I'm scooping to here. Again. Boom. And that wonderful motion happens. Again, that's a harder, quicker timing window of opportunity. If he's already latched hold of you, boom, you're going to have a hard time stepping forward at this time because now you're having to fight this arm. It's not going to happen. Hence, the first way, which is he latches hold of you, you retreat. Okay? That's why I'm telling you there's two different ways to do this depending on your timing. When I demonstrated it originally for the whole series, I did it this way. I'll tell you why. It's because I had a brain fart. I'm sitting up here going, uh-oh, what is next? I just totally forgot the next technique, and by that time Randy had latched hold of the sleeve, but I go, oh, that's the technique. I had to do this way. Because he had already latched hold of it. Things to be aware of. Don't do this. We're going to do it the first way, initially. Don't do this. It's not going to happen. Just small little circles of pulling. Okay? When you do these motions, you've got to turn your center a little bit, and you've got to get this hand up. Up. Sorry, after his foot hits. Up. And then retreat and turn your center. Okay? You can't stand on line to him. You can't walk into him and do this and go, it's not going to happen. He's stronger here. So what I do, I retreat. No, stay the posture. From here, I have to make sure that I'm offline of his attack. So he grabs, boom, retreat, get offline, push. It's about as slow as I can do that. The alternative way is just before he grabs, push, step in. Okay? Try that. Okay, this next series, well, in this kata, let me rephrase this, there's the techniques are broken up into sections, as you'll find. The first first 4 techniques have uke and tori kneeling very close together. The next techniques have uke standing up and a little bit of separation. The next techniques have uke and tori both standing up. That's the series we're in right now. Later on, we're going to go start dealing with weapons. So you start dealing with distances and more timing on the techniques with distances. But in this particular series here, the techniques are broken up in 3s. So the first 3 that we saw was this lapel grab, boom, from this side. And then we saw just a wrist grab on this side to something different. And then you saw a lapel grab to this side. Boom. Now, we're going to go back to another wrist grab to this side. But the other ones were based off of 2 lapel grabs as far as one-handed lapel grabs. The next series after this is like an interim technique, or you could think of it as you've gone lapel grab wrist, lapel grab wrist. That's the other way to think of it. If you think of it that way, well, yeah, there's 4 techniques in the series. So we've gone lapel grab, wrist. Now we're going lapel grab, but now we're going back to the same wrist again. So that's this next technique, is this 4th technique. And I don't think it really matters as to how you think of it as far as symmetry goes. I like to think of it as an interim technique for the next ones. But you can think of it as another way of going back to for symmetry reasons. This technique, I've heard it called many different names: reverse kotagaishi, kote kujiki. I think in the books it says some kind of whatever type of wrist lock. Let's go this way so we can see it. I think we need to go. We discussed this angle if I remember right. But you'll see it by many one of a number of names. Okay? As uke takes the hand, boom, I'm going to retreat into this motion. And as I bring it up, I have seen it stepping forward, but I think it's a little bit harder to do stepping forward. As you bring the hand up, this hand that was here in my center comes straight up, and I hip invert. And I'll end up with my hand open, turn around, my hand open in this posture right here. You're not going to end up here tight into your body. You're going to end up out here with your hand again open like this. Okay? Now I have seen it stepping forward, but I find it more difficult to do when you come this way and do it, because now you outrun uke. I'm not partial to that. So, but it can do it if you like. Here, retreat, here. Now notice what I'm not doing is, I'm not doing this. Boom. All I'm doing is putting my hand here and retreating to it. But I'm retreating and fading just offline. You know, see that? Let's do this one. Straight back to the hand. What I'm not doing is this. Boom. What I am doing is this. That show up a little bit better in the camera? Because now what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave myself right here, so that when he takes his next step and pushes, I am already where I need to be. Okay? Hopefully I'm not giving out new information for when my black belts were taking their test earlier. You never showed us that. Retreat, retreat. Notice the hand switch. His hand has to be up here waiting for him as he comes through. See it? It's waiting for him. Now, here's the safety factor. I can't get in a hurry at this point and try to throw him very quickly. You could if you don't like your uke and you just want to hurt him. Okay? I don't recommend that here. What you do now is you sort of wait for him to say, oh, it's this throw, I know what's going to happen now. Let him adjust. This is a safety factor. Let him adjust. Let him get his posture and get ready to go wherever he needs to go. At which point you'll see him now take up his foot. You do the same and you'll step. And again, you don't slot with the arm. Okay? All you're doing now is you're just helping him do a break fall. You're dropping out and now you give him support right here. And if you can do Koryu Dai, you can do this throw. The only difference is I'm supporting him on his elbow now. And the fun part is, remember the magic of the hand rotating around with your open hand earlier? It happens again right here with this hand. As he goes around, let's kneel down for a second. Ask you to do a little cheesy rollout here. I'm going to have Randy do a little cheesy rollout from the ground so you can see this. As he rolls, my hand will come and stay right in place where it needs to go. Did that show up okay from that kind of sort of angle? Let's go this way. I'm here. Randy's facing that way. He takes his step and rolls out, and it falls right into place. Okay? So you don't need to be doing funny things with your hand again. If you keep it locked just like this, it'll fall and land right into place for you. Okay? This is a very dangerous throw. Very dangerous throw. I think it's one of the most dangerous ones in this kata because you can rip somebody's shoulder out, break their elbow, knock them on their head, and do all sorts of nasty things if you're in a hurry or if you try to crank on anything. It's okay to add your other hand to it if you need support. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. Get to here, you get to here. He takes his hand. At this point, I can bring my hand up if I need to. That's okay. I think you saw me do it on the tape. And I'll probably do it again when we actually do the throw here in just a minute. I have a strained wrist right now, so it's hard to support him with that. Let's go over here. Boom, boom. Okay? Do we need to see it from a different angle? Let's go one more time. Here. Retreat. Be set. Questions on that? I think I covered all the safety factors too. Try that one. We'll quit with that tonight. If you have an uke who is not comfortable taking that break fall, you can, or practicing it, if you're learning this kata and you just don't want to take a bunches of break, this type of particular fall over and over and over again, or if you have a floor that's not a sprung-loaded floor, you can help your uke out by, in advance, letting them know that you're going to let them do a rollout. And the rollout happens by you get the same movement up to here, up to here, up to here. He turns and he steps, but what you're going to do is as you get to this point, you're going to extend your, instead of locking your hand here, you're going to extend your hand, and your hand will roll out, and just like that, and uke is allowed to do a roll. So we'll do it at regular speed. But uke has to know he's going to do that roll. Okay? If you let go and uke's taking a break fall, he's going to take a hard fall over here because he's like getting airborne and there's no support. All of a sudden your hand has gone away. So this is something that you all have to work out in advance. Boom, boom. Again, the principles of that don't change. I don't come up to him and go here, 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 and then get in a hurry to do this. I can't be in a hurry to do that. Just because I'm thinking, oh, I'm going to let him do a roll. I have to do everything else the same. Here, here, here. Let him get positioned. He steps, I step, I extend the hand, and he does a roll. Okay? Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. The second of the second set, whatever that was we were working on. Come to here, 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 back into my toshi. A couple of things that have to take place that you need to show. First of all, you have to show that you're doing this release motion, but dropping the hand just like the release motion, the fifth release motion. Then you're dropping up over here. And this is the fun part. This is the thing, this three things all have to take place, or two things all have to take place at the same time. Three things take place. This foot pulls back, this hand comes up, and this hand drops. All at the same time. And as that happens, you bring him into a Haneri grip right here. Can the camera see that okay? You're bringing him into a Haneri grip. As his hand comes down from that grip, you're bringing him into Haneri. And as you're picking up, little finger up. From there, it's just step out and do a light nudge, and he does his ukemi. Do it this way so the camera can see it. Release motion, up, throw. Also notice that uke doesn't make a straight line on this one. Uke's motion is, once you've done this, he's trying to whack you upside the head or grab your collar, as in Koryu Dai, where he grabs, second half Koryu Dai, where he grabs your collar. And so he's trying to do that particular motion, but you just, this particular time, don't let him. So as he's moving around and you come up and duck under, he's now changed his entire course of movement. He was going that way. You're now picking him up, and you now have between here and here to throw him, and all that will be considered proper, depending on where he happens to step and if you happen to be throwing him into joseki and things like that. So you can direct your steps a little bit before you actually throw, for safety reasons. Switch?
No. That way.
Exactly where we are?
Yes.
Okay. I know a lot of times I'm talking away from the camera, so I'm trying to talk while I was looking. Here, here, here. Things to avoid in this motion: doing this, bending at the waist, doing this, pulling this foot back without raising the hand. Doing those are three separate motions. Also, keep this hand to your center. Don't let it come out here on you. All those little mistakes kill the timing. Boom, 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 and he's now has me. As soon as I try to raise his hand, if I do it too late. Slow down just a minute. Boom, boom, boom. Just realize I did something different. Don't pay attention to that technique. Okay? Boom, boom, boom. Okay. Okay, part of the other problem on this technique that you have to watch out for is this hand. As it's coming around, it can't take its time about coming down. Everything else can't be going, and then this hand trying to be still sitting up here. It has to come down rapidly. It has to be here, ready to go right now. Okay? The second thing is to watch out for your footwork, so that when you come in here and you're retreating, you're not stepping behind him too much. You need to watch out for that you're taking a giant retreating step. If it's done properly, you'll end up right next to him. You should end up pretty much foot to foot with him. Now this hand here, I recommend you try to lock it to your center. Sometimes it's not going to happen. Not a problem. You can keep it out here. You can still keep a little leverage on it right here. Not a problem. But try to get it close to your body, close to your center, as much as possible. Slow down. Boom. Boom. Okay? The question came up off camera with height differences. You have a short Tori, not a short Tori, but you have an uke who's taller than your Tori. Come on out. And the question that originally happened, with what happens with when she does this motion. Go ahead, go slow. When she does the motion, all of a sudden, uke is just like no leverage here. Turn to face the camera. There's no leverage in here for her to try to even get the Mayatoshi off this thing. Even though she's got this hand locked to the center as much as possible, Marty's still standing up there picking his nose. So she has to do.
For posterity.
Okay, so what's going to happen is start your taking from.
I'm leaving that in, Ray.
We're gonna have something to know more you want.
Yeah, go slow. So what Natalie's going to have to do is two things. First of all, when she does this release motion, start over here for me so we can see this better. Natalie over here. Natalie over here, Marty over here. So that you get it facing the camera. Natalie has to do two things. Go real slow. The first thing she has to do is on her first initial step, she has to make sure that she has created distance between their bodies. That's the first thing. Because as she brings his hand down, that causes Marty to be slightly leaning. Okay? The second thing she has to worry about is, again, what we talked about with the foot posture. The third thing she has to worry about is letting this hand leave her center. If this hand comes over here, it has done nothing. But instead, it needs to stay in her center so that this arm now cranks. You see Marty moving? It now cranks on that elbow. Now she has to do a step forward, boom, and the throw happens. Okay? Try it one more time. Put the same angle. Whichever way you were facing. I think Tori was over there. Yeah. I'll stay out of the picture. Do it slow. Nice slow speed. Boom, boom, boom. Kind of sort of like that. Okay? Do we need to see it from another angle or anything? Okay, thank you. So, okay to move out a little bit. It's okay to create some other little distances. All right? Next one. Boom. Bear hug. Okay? This is going to be really fun with the tall and the short. Okay, guess what? You have to figure this out. As he grabs, what I'm going to try to do is to step out just ever so slightly forward, causing him to break posture, not down the line, but just slightly forward without twisting. And at the same time, I'm going to inhale. And at the same time, I'm going to turn my little fingers in like this and try to raise my elbows up to shoulder level. Turn my little fingers out, okay. And raise my elbows up to shoulder level. So if I do all this at the same time, that'll happen, hopefully. And notice the angle, I'm not like this. Notice he just dropped as soon as I did that? From here. Now what's going to happen is from here, I take my right hand, because the kata says do it right hand, and I stepped out with the left foot. If you step out with the other foot, you have to switch hands. Take the right hand, reach across, take this Hinari grip here, duck under, and you now have Tenkai Kota Hinari. The rest is like the textbook out of the Junana Hankata, which is you step out to the perpendicular, and you bring around, down, and follow up as normal. Let's do it this way. As he grabs. Hopefully in the real kata you're not going to let him get this far into the grab, okay? If you do, you might have to do something else. So if he releases a bit. Slightly forward. Take. Lock. And then Hinari. Out of the textbook. I'm not going to follow it up because it's just like Kota Hinari out of the textbook. Do I need to see it from another angle? This way? Make sure you keep that Hinari. Okay. Things to avoid. Letting him get all the way around. Okay? Other things to avoid, breaking, when you break your movement, to do this. This isn't going to help you any. Okay? You look like you're doing a song and dance. Okay? It's not going to help you any. Okay? So from here, as he grabs, get the elbows up. And the other thing is, like I mentioned, step forward on it. So get the elbows up. Avoid doing this. Avoid rocking backwards. Okay? So I think those are the biggie things to avoid. Now, right off the bat, I'm going to tell you, you got a shorter uke. Or tori, I mean. I walk up to her and I do this, and she does that motion. Well, she's like practically nothing there. But also, as soon as she did that, you notice she didn't break the grip. All she did was raise my arm so that I can choke her out now instead. See that? She raised her hands, and my hands went straight to her throat. She didn't break the grip. What she's going to have to do is to step out further forward than just slightly forward. She's going to have to get a bigger step to that 45 angle over here. So she steps, go ahead. Now she had made me move enough where she can duck under this hand quickly. Even though the grip isn't broken, she can duck under because I can't choke her from out here. Because now I'm leaning on her back. And if I try to choke her while leaning on her back, she just drops to her right knee and twists that away and sends me onto the floor. And I'll let Fred get that one for you. So I come here, I get this bear hug, she steps forward. I get the bear hug and she steps forward. Like that, gets me moving. Now I can't get the choke, and then she can take either hand, it doesn't matter, she ducks under and follows up with the lock. Okay? Now come in. Try that.
Today.
Alright, a couple things that Randy pointed out. Thank you, Randy. Give him credit where credit's due. Is once you learn this kata and you start realizing things, I'm not actually, I know I just showed you on two, 3 techniques ago to do this. Okay? But as you reach across with this hand to grab this hand, you throw his other right hand across your throat. Whether intentionally or accidentally, it's going to be there. So once you learn the kata and you figure out what's going on, you have to understand about breaking the rules again and not breaking the rules and following the rules. And following the rules are your hands stay in your center. So by keeping your hands to your center, this right hand comes up to the center, and now all of a sudden his right hand is there for me. It's already there. I don't have to reach across his body. I just up and it's there. The other thing is, don't forget to breathe. Big inhale. Expand your chest as much as possible. Big inhale. And step forward as you do it. Anything to help break that grip. If he's got a stronger grip or if he's actually lasted hold, you might have to struggle with a little bit. You might have to dance one more step. You might have to take one more step forward and then come up on it and then disappear. There are other things you might have to do. Remember, as long as his feet are moving, his grip releases and relaxes a little bit. But if you stay there and try to fight it, he'll just squish you like a grape. Okay? So from here, right at the center. Both hands are very close to this one. If you step out with the right foot, by the way, the kata says step to the left and grab to the right hand. If for whatever reason, go ahead. If for whatever reason you forget and you step out with your right foot, then guess what? You have to do left-sided tenkai there. Okay? It works both sides. You just have to remember this way, this way. For the kata, you only have to do it one hand. Alright? Next one. We'll do it once and then talk about it. Probably need to go this way for the sake of the tape. He's stepping into me. One, slow down. Right here. He's making his third step. And I'm just stepping offline and all of a sudden I'm trying to do Shomanate, but guess what? I miss. He's gone past me. So instead what I do is I just kneel down. So 1, boom, and I pass, so I just kneel down from here. I think you can see this better from here, I think. Boom, boom. And I lock this hand to this knee. From here, I take this hand and place it inside that knee and push. And as that's happening, this hand's going to slide up and take the foot. We'll change directions in a minute. From here, I stand up, switch hands and feet, and I'm going to go over this again. You'll probably see some slightly different motions. I'm actually going to be this posture, for real. I take my left hand and I threaten to strike him. Boom. But what I don't do is just raise its leg up and down when I'm coming across. Okay? What I have to do is, as I'm coming across, I make a big circle out here so that he starts to roll. You'll see the difference? One is I'm coming here, and he grabs me and throws me over there. The other is I come here and I do this. Starting turning on his side. Catch. Now that's the other reason he doesn't try to block with that hand. He can block with his bottom hand if he's flat on his back. And do that. But if he thinks he's being turned over, and he doesn't want to be turned over, all his weight now has gone to that hand to stop him from being turned over, which only leaves him one free hand to block with. Okay? At this point, don't make the common error of letting this leg go and then trying to pull him over. Because you'll be seeing Dr. Beecher here shortly for doing that. Believe it or not, when you got him here, all you have to do is take your right foot and stand up straight and take your right foot behind you and not let go with either one of these two appendages. From here, you lock his elbow in your knees, palm down, lock it, and rotate counterclockwise. Let's do it from this angle so the camera can see it. This way?
Turn around.
He wants you over here, baby. Lock, push, stand up, strike, turn, turn. Now we'll do it slow. For those of you who don't have a framer on your VCR. Most important thing to remember, don't try to pull them over, and don't take your leg and bring it straight up and down to strike. Okay? Try that. Okay. 2 points that came up. One is when you're getting to this posture here, and you start to move around, there's a chance that Uke can pick up that other leg, just like any other chances that Uke can do. He's not a machine. And hurt you as you're walking into it. Especially if he has a kicking background. Okay? There's always that chance. So some of the things you have to be aware of, one of the things you have to be aware of, is just as you're fixing to step into it, you're already in this posture, with your peripheral vision, watch that leg. If it's on the ground, up in the air, before you step into it, step back once. And that pretty much blocks whatever's going on, because now if he throws that kick, he's blocking it into nothingness. Or if potentially I can actually make it go on the ground and see if I can do it. Don't cheat on me here. And then the rest of the follow-up is as usual. Now part 2 of this, which is the other part thing that you need to be aware of. Now that last thing is an if. Okay? You don't need to see it in kata, only if you do this one day and somebody decides to pick their foot up, then just yank them back about an inch or two and they'll put it down, hopefully. The next thing is the arm bar part of this. All this bending motion down here is, I'm not applying pressure to the arm. I'm just locking the elbow so that he can't bend the elbow to escape. The actual lock with his elbow here happens with my knees. Now from here, I know this is hard to see, but I actually have one knee higher than the other. And then this knee is slightly higher than this knee. Oh no, Mr. Bill! Then I rotate on it, and it slides, and there's the arm bar. It starts out like this, and as I rotate, you'll notice my knees will now shift postures. I now have a lever shooting this way, locking that elbow. Boom. You can also go the other way with it if you want, but some people are a little more limber. Okay? So it's here, down, lock, and twist. So you're actually doing an arm bar, not a wrist lock. This is just controlling that elbow. Any other questions over there? All right. Stop that. Okay, what Randy and I are going to do now is we're going to redo what you saw at the beginning of the tape, which is the first 16 of Koryu Dai, the entire, all 16 that we just discussed. Preferably, this is the way that you'll see it for when you have to take your knee-down test. So we're going to start. Just